I don't know about you. I have not read any of Legion of X. And I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. I'm
I
just not gonna.
I did read the most recent issue, but that's only because I thought you were gonna want to still talk about it because it's a Kurt thing with Kurt in it. But now that you recently seem to have a change of heart and be like, "Fuck it," you know what? I love that. Fuck it. I don't want to talk about it. It's dumb. There's nothing there.
I mean, we'll still end up talking about it, but I just can't. I can't. Anyway, hey guys, welcome back to Simply Amazing, the beautifully positive podcast. As you can tell, we are nothing but balls of sunshine and positivity at all times. And I am the OG Nocturne, aka Lisa, aka call me what you want, just don't call me late for dinner. And across from me is a dazzling visage in blue work shirt, I assume.
Yes,
With just
it's a
a wall
polo.
of
I don't wear polos willingly, Lisa. Come on now. I have some shame.
listen, at least it's not a Henley. Remember Henleys and when those were big? Oh my god. All right. Tell them about yourself, girl.
Yeah, I'm Lauren, your friendly neighborhood bye. And yeah, I'm one half of this, but I also just did some rebranding for my other YouTube channel I do, mostly focused on independent comics. I was up at 3 a.m. last night and I got that, like when you're up at 3 a.m. or whatever, and you get that perfect moment of creative inspiration that you can't ever plan,
Oh
but
my
it
god,
finally just
yes.
happens and you get that perfect epiphany and you're like, this is it. This is the moment. And then you do, and you're just like, yes, that's how I felt with that. So, I'm
I
pretty
totally
proud of
get it.
it. It's silly, but like, I finally got the logo for the show and the channel and everything to like the welcoming and bright feeling that I wanted it to have.
It is not silly. It is adorable. And I don't know who tweeted it, but someone said it reminded them of Cub Scout uniform badges. And
Yeah,
I think
that
that
was
is
Mason.
amen. Yeah, no, totally. Mason was totally right. Totally reminded me. Well, for me, it reminded me of Girl Scout badges because I was a Girl Scout. But yeah, no, it's totally cute and adorable. And I get the 3 a.m. thing because you're always like rolling around in bed trying to say, is this idea good enough to get out of bed and write down? Or do I stay in bed? So you at least got out of bed and you did
Yeah.
your thing, girl.
Well, that was kind of nice thing is it happened. It wasn't necessarily like the idea where you're laying in bed, you're like, oh my gosh, should I write? Should I not? Like, am I gonna remember in the morning? Am I not? It was one of those things where I was up and about. I started doing some on my laptop, and I was like, huh, what if I did this, and it just like happened by accident. And there have been nights where I tried, like I literally tried to get the idea and I couldn't, and like days where I just sat there and I was like, why can't I do the thing? And so yeah, it just worked out. So I'm super
They call
excited. So
that
if any of y'all care about that,
serendipity. They call that
yeah.
serendipity, girl, and that's what happened for you. And I'm going to tell you what's not serendipitous is this fucking horn situation that we're going to get into right now.
Listen, you're right. It's not like I'm all for cool horns for characters like Hellboy and stuff, but for Kurt, no, get away. Absolutely not.
Yeah, no. Okay, so first and foremost, disclaimer on this episode. We have not read any Legion of X. I specifically have not read any Legion of X in like 2 months. Lauren has read maybe the most recent issue, but by the time this comes out, there might be a new issue coming out. We are going to Joan Calamezzo this and speculate wildly about what's coming with these fucking horns. And we're going to get angry about it over nothing that we're going to speculate. But you know what? It's going to be a good time anyway.
Listen, I think that's great. Like, I think more people, like, if you're going to speculate, just be upfront about it. Like, I'm not going to shit on your show if you are just upfront about, like, yeah, we're fully speculating here. We're just being mad at nothing because we want to be. Okay, cool. At least you're not acting like you have every reason to be mad. So, or, like, hey, this is, it's just like, yeah, we're just throwing shit around because we want to as fans. Absolutely. That's fine. Just own it. So I love that we're owning it.
Exactly.
I know so many other people. I've seen all of you, BAMF Nation peeps. I've seen a lot of people really upset about the horns thing. Lisa, I'm wondering if you can tell us or remind anybody that doesn't follow us on Twitter for some reason. particularly with the Elon Musk nonsense. I don't blame you there, but tell them about your interaction with a certain
Ugh.
creator of a certain publishing site
I
about
don't even
their
remember.
article they published about it.
Okay, so I don't remember his name. Like, I'm gonna say it's the guy who runs Bleeding Cool. Rich something? I don't.
Rich
I don't.
Johnston, I think.
Is that it? Because I thought that was somebody I'd followed from delisted. But okay, so is that what his name is? That's fine. I don't. I actually don't really follow Bleeding Cool, but like Bleeding Cool seems like one of those like those article factories, like Screen Rant, where they're just pumping out a bunch of stuff, and it's like, what, speculate wildly, right? And so he had this whole thing about how he overheard in a bar that Cy Spurrier said that the horns are coming and they're going to be permanent. And I very respectfully disagreed. And whatever, I offered to pay him money if this became a permanent installation on Kurt's character in perpetuity. Essentially, like I'm willing to go as far as this. Like 5 years time, if he still got horns, I'll give you money. Like, because I just have a hard time believing that Marvel is, when they're just ready, they're getting ready to introduce the X-Men into the MCU, and you can tell that they're really gearing up for X-Men shit. I mean, X-Men are starting to become more and more popular. Like look at Halloween, where freaking Kiki Palmer and Kim Kardashian and her friends dressed up as X-Men
Oh my
characters.
gosh.
This
So
is some of
fucking good. I don't care about any of those reality TV peeps. I don't. But those outfits were stunting. Like both those things can be true. You cannot like the Kardashians and reality TV stars and still admit that their costumes were fucking phenomenal. Like they were busting. That was great.
I mean, if you say that their costumes weren't great, then you're just lying, because they're millionaires who can afford to get the same freaking person who put blue on Jennifer Lawrence's ass to put blue on their ass. So, it is just, yeah. So what the point I'm making though is that clearly X-Men are becoming larger and larger in the zeitgeist. And now, and so I just don't buy that Marvel is going to take one of their characters and do something to them that is so antithetical to their character, to everything we know for the character up until this point, but also changes, their look. I mean, think about other characters. Like how many characters other than Beast, and Beast can fuck right off, okay? Because I don't want to talk about Beast. We give him way too much freaking time. But how many characters, have changed that much since their inception at Marvel? They don't change a ton, like not big things.
Right.
So I'm anti-horns. It goes against everything Kurt is and was and will ever be. So the end.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see it being permanent. I think it was kind of funny. Like Rich seems like a cool guy, whatever. I don't really know him personally. I know he follows me on Twitter, which I was like, huh, interesting.
Ooh, girl.
So like, yeah, he seems like hopefully he's lovely, whatever. Like I don't have any hate or anything. But yeah, I did think it was interesting how much he insisted that the horns were gonna be permanent and like kind of going so hard to prove it. Like kind of like you said, it's like again, that's speculation. Like unless you can get Cy Spurrier on the record to say that, which maybe once it comes out, he will, fine. But until then, why are you trying so hard to convince anybody that it's permanent? I mean, I just want to be like Gretchen from Mean Girls at him. Stop trying to make horns happen. It's not gonna happen. Like, come on. Like, who are you trying to prove? If you're right, then you'll be right when the book comes out. Like, simmer down, my dude. Like, he doth protest too much.
And it's just like, it just reminds me of like every Screen Rant article I read, which is like, here's something shocking. And then you read it and it's like, oh, that happened 25 years ago. Why is it shocking all of a sudden? I don't understand. So whatever. I'm just saying, as far as how antithetical to Kurt's entire character horns are, like he is a man who has spent his entire life trying to justify to humanity that he's not a demon, because he's not. He's not a demon. Full stop. Kurt Wagner is not a demon. He's not part demon. He's not half demon. He's not like, a quarter demon on his mother's side. There's no demon in that man. He is a human mutant. That's what he is. So he has spent his whole life, trying to prove to humanity that he is not the demon he seems to be. And now you're going to give him horns? Like, we're just getting back to Kurt being the fun-loving guy who's like a swashbuckler. And now you're going to give him horns and a complex? Because here's the thing. This can go only one of two ways. Either he doesn't get horns, or he gets horns and he has a complex about it. Because the idea that Kurt would have horns and then be like, this is great, fuck off. That's BS. Never going to happen. He would literally just shrivel into himself, being like, I am the demon everyone says I am. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, listen, D is not for demon. D is for Destiny is his mother. Thank you. Like, come on, guys. Like, if this is some weird attempt at trying to double down on a Draco, which wouldn't make sense, especially after we've seen, him calling Destiny stepmom on panel at least, so that's a step. Honestly, I think more than anything, the X office is, to me, this is a sign, and what's happening with Kurt, how prominent he's becoming, yet how much writers can't write him consistently, right? And different books. Because again, like Kieran Gillen wrote him wonderfully. Cy Spurrier's been writing him this way for a while, which hasn't really worked. Like, there's been some good moments depending on who you are as a fan, but like, other than that, it's, so the fact that Nightcrawler isn't being written consistently across multiple books by multiple writers, to me, that says there's disarray in the X office still. There's still not a complete understanding of what are we doing with Kurt. I think there's ideas floating around like, yeah, we want to make him a leader. We want to position him a certain way for, future events or what have you. I mean, we're seeing him, there's a whole book called Nightcrawlers based off of, melding him, I think, with others or something.
Which is a concept they've done before. Like, was it X-Men? What big event was it where it literally ended? I don't think it was an X-Men the end, but I think it was connected to that whole thing where like it ended with a bunch of like random, it was basically Nightcrawler. It was a bunch of chimeras, but it was Nightcrawler with the 05. So it was like Nightcrawler Jean Grey and Nightcrawler Bobby and Nightcrawler Scott. It was like, I mean, not like literally them, but like a Nightcrawler who had beast powers and a Nightcrawler who had wings and a Nightcrawler who had ice powers. Just someone remind me out there what event this was, because I swear to God it happened. I didn't make it up. I didn't have a fever dream about it. Like, yeah, it really did happen. So this, again, it's just like, okay, they're going to recycle something. Well, let's see. Hopefully it's interesting. I think, though, this might be just me making Kurt out to be way more important than he actually is, which, of course, he's the most important thing ever. I mean, right?
Yeah.
I think that there might be, like, a civil war going on in the X office, because it really feels like there are two sides. One side keeps pushing the Draco, and the other side is, like, wants to distance himself from it all the way. And if we're going to have, like, the heads of the Civil War, the Steve and the Tony of this, I would say it's Cy Spurrier and Kieran Gillen. So, and if we're going to go see Civil War, Cy, I'm sorry, you're Tony. So, I don't know what to say about that.
I mean, right. I mean, yeah, I don't know how much of a Civil War or not it is, but what does interest me is that there's no one person with the technical title of head of X, right? But there's definitely got to be somebody in that room, one or two people in particular that have more say than the others, right? I imagine Jerry Duggan's one of them because he's on the X title. He's basically been trying to replace Hickman. Hasn't been working in my opinion, but whatever. Like, I loved him on Marauders. Like, stop trying to copy Hickman's style and do your own thing, dude, but it's fine, whatever. So I imagine he has a lot to say, so I'm kind of wondering where he is on that, because we also know, so if anybody doesn't know, the green dress debate with Jean and like get her out of green dress, Jerry Duggan made it very clear, very loudly on Twitter that he was pro green dress with a very specific tweet that said very specific thing in a very specific way. And it was like, you didn't have to say this, my dude. You could have just kept your mouth shut. And again, I'm not trying to say he's a terrible person or anything, whatever, we have differences, but that was just obnoxious to me. And so to me, again, if Jerry Duggan is probably one of the more prominent voices in the X office and probably has more of a leadership role, I am guessing, I could be wrong, but if that's true, I think he's probably more with Cy on this. And to me, it's like, no, wrongo, my dude. Either, I mean, like, why do you even care that much? You're writing the X books. You're not even writing my boy. Mind your business.
Okay. Here at Simply Amazing, we are pro beard, pro swords, anti-green dress, anti-horns. I was like, what the fuck are we talking about here? And fucking anti-Hank McCoy. That's like,
I love it. That's an amazing platform. Yes, that's amazing. We need to make that our header on Twitter.
Yeah. So if you would like to vote for us, which this is probably going to drop the day after Election Day in most places, or close to after Election Day in most places, but if you'd like to vote for us, you can write us in as Simply Amazing on your ballot retroactively, and we promise that if we get into power, whatever power it is, be your local comptroller up to President of the United States. I mean, anything could happen. I mean, clearly anything could happen. So we promise that we will take care of everything, but most importantly, pro beard, pro swords, anti green dress, anti horns, and anti fucking Hank McCoy.
I wrote it down. I love it. I love it.
There you go. Perfect. Done.
Let us know what you think of our platform. Let us know what you would add to it. We are open to suggestions because unlike real politicians, we actually listen to our Simply Amazing peeps.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Simply Amazing BAMF Nation 2023. That's what we are running on right there. So boom.
Beautiful. I love it.
Well,
we'll pitch it. We'll pitch it to the X office. See if we can get it approved.
Love it.
Kieran Gillen, we know you're listening. We've got you, man. We know what you're trying to do.
And listen, if you don't take us, if you don't take our pitch, we're just going to become senators, and then we'll make it law. So, where's my gavel? It is done. It is law.
Judge Lisa ruling.
I don't know where my gavel is. I'm sorry, I lost it. Here, I'll use a metal straw. There, see, saving
Beautiful.
A sea turtle.
That was still pretty good. All right.
I know, right? All right, everybody. Well, that was a quick little one, but we just had to get in there and talk about how much we dislike the horns because, in case anybody wonders, we don't fucking like them. So, but yeah, thanks for joining us for another episode. You can come find us on all of our socials. We have a website that has everything listed. It's at simplyamazingpod.com. If you're looking for a place to go because Twitter is becoming awful or ridiculous, well, come find us anywhere. We're on Discord. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on all of it. And Lauren, girl, where can they find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at friendlymBHDBI. And then you can find my newly branded show, which is exciting, and channel MBHD Comic Show. I know we're all Kurt stands here, so it's totally okay if it's not your thing. But there's some cool, really good indie creators and comics you can learn about there, which is kind of cool, especially if you're looking for more stuff with swords and character development that isn't the Draco. There's a lot of opportunities like that you'll see there. So check it out if you feel like it.
Love it, love it. And again, come find us, simplyamazingpod.com. If you like what you're listening to, please rate, review, subscribe, help us grow, help us find more people to talk about how much we hate Hank McCoy. Join us in our platform. Join us in our struggle of hating Hank McCoy, because we are there. And if you are out there listening and you are like, but I actually really like McCoy, or I'm indifferent to Hank McCoy, you know what? We're not going to hold it against you because you're simply amazing.